Hello and good day, everyone. This lecture is a part of a series of lectures for the PUP Mathematics Club project entitled Math Angat Tutorial Series. My name is Sir Brian Carlo Olivera, and I will be discussing to you the knowledge that you need in order to survive in a calculus course. Pero ayun, nagtagalog na ako. I will not be speaking in continuous English. Pero hindi to nag-guarantee na this will supplement everything in order to survive in a calculus course. Because syempre, kaya may mga senior high school kayo in order to have a grasp in calculus. Kasi diba, nung grade 11 or grade 12, you had calculus and pre-calculus. This series of lectures is for you to remember some of the concepts that is needed for calculus. And una sa lahat, we have to discuss sets. What are sets? Suppose a friend of yours ask you to enumerate all the mathematicians that were born during the 18th century. Diba? Sino ba yung mga yun? Si Euclid, si Galois, yung mga personalities na yun. Your mom told you to list all the teams in the NBA, the National Basketball Association. What are those teams? Golden State, the Los Angeles Lakers, etc. You have a list. Through this, you are actually listing a collection of certain objects which are bonded by a certain criterion, which turns out to be common in all the members of the said collection. And this collection is called a set. Sets played a vital role in the early study of mathematics. We now formally define what is a set. But before that, I want to introduce to you this notion. Kasi dati, nung mga bata pa tayo, di ba sa geometry, we have what we call the points, line, and the plane. They are what we call the undefined terms in geometry. What do we mean by undefined? Ibig sabihin nun, there is no specific definition for those specific concepts, pero we are trying to describe what do they do. Ganun din actually ang set. We don't have a formal definition for a set, but we can describe what does the set do. Anong ginagawa ng set? This is contradictory to what my slide says. It is definition, but you get the idea. Now, definition or the description of what is a set. This was named or described by George Cantor in 1845 to 1918. And he said that a set is a well-defined collection of objects which are called the elements of the set. Diba? Nung grade 7, dinefine nyo na yan. And now we are recalling it. A set is a collection of objects with a property that can tell whether any given object is or not in the set. Diba? Let's think of it for a second. Ano lang ibig sabihin? Nililista niya yung mga objects ng set with a specific property that you can tell whether or not those elements are members of that set. Yun lang ang ibig sabihin nun. A set is denoted by capital letters like A, B, Y, and Z. Sometimes, makikita nyo sa mga calculus courses nyo dahil meron lang tayong 26 letters sa alphabet, they sometimes use a subscript, yung mga A sub 1, A sub 2, and so on hanggang kay A sub N. Because we have limited letters in the English alphabet. Kaya gumagamit tayo ng subscripts. Kaya wag na kayo magulat kung may makikita kayo mga ganun. This denotes sets, actually. Basta capital letters. Let's say an object is an element of the set if the object belongs to the set. Yun yung element na tinatawag, di ba? Kung kasama siya dun sa set na yun. This fact is clear from the definition. Now, if a set is denoted by capital letters, an element is often denoted by small letters like small letter A, small letter B, small letter Y, and small letter Z. Basta tandaan nyo, kapag sets, uppercase letters or capital letters, kapag elements, lowercase letters or small letters. Ganun lang yun. However, let's say we have a few remarks for this definition. If A is an element of the set capital A, then we denote it as A, tapos this symbol, I will write it again, yung ganito, parang E, pero this denotes an element to the set. Paano naman kapag hindi daw element? If A is not an element of the set A, then we denote it as A with a slash A. Parang kesa gawin mong ganito, kesa cross, ang ginagawa yung iyon para makontra, ganyan. It's not an element. Ngayon, consider the set E, which is given to be the set of all even numbers. Ano ba yung mga even numbers, guys? Diba yung 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. Or the multiples of 2, diba? Here, it is clear that 2 is an element of the set E. Tama, diba? Malinaw ng 2 ay even number. So, masasabi natin na 2 is an element of E. Also, 3 is not even, thus it is not included in the set E. Kasi nga, hindi naman even siya, no? Kaya masasabi natin na 3 is not an element of the set E. Correct? So, yun lang naman. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng membership notation na tinatawag na ito. This is what we call the membership notation. Alam natin whether or not yung mga elements ay member ng specific na set. However, we didn't say how do we describe a collection of the sets. Paano ba siya ilista? Tama ba itong ginawa ko dito sa taas? We have 3 ways actually, guys. What are those things? Ngayon, we have ways of describing a set. The first method is the verbal method. What do we mean by verbal method? We use a sentence to define a set. We use descriptions actually. We just describe the elements. Number 2, the roster or elimination method. What do we mean by this? Write down all the elements. Sulat daw. Separate the elements by a comma and enclose them in braces. Yun yung mga familiar na alam ninyong pagsulat. Pangatlo, the rule method or the set builder notation. Sabi dito, enclose in braces, tapos maglalagay ng descriptive phrase and agreeing that those objects and only those, this is strict, with the described properties are elements of the set. Ano lang ba ibig sabihin nun? Maglalagay lang tayo ng description na mag-unify at magsasabi, ano ba yung mga elements ng set na yun? Siguro mahirap na inililista ko lang siya in a list, pero ngayon, magbigay tayo ng mga halimbawa. Ngayon, ano yung unang halimbawa natin? Let's write it down. Halimbawa 1. Ngayon, pag sinabing verbal method, ano bang una nating example? S is the set of all integers between 0 and 5. Yan yung verbal method. We are writing it in a sentence. Don't forget the period in the end because it is a sentence. Kahit sa MMW, wag niyong kakalimutan yun. Ngayon, what is the roster notation? The roster method suggests that we enclose them in braces. Ano ba yung mga braces? Lagyan natin equal sign braces. Ano ba yung mga numbers between 0 and 5? Kasama ba ang 0 and 5 sa integers between 0 and 5? Hindi. Kaya ano ba yung mga 1, 2, 3, and 4? Tapos kung tapos na yung elements niya, lalagyan nyo ng close brace. Ganyan ang roster notation. Ngayon, ano yung rule method? Yung rule method, kailangan natin mag-isip ano yung description nila na unifying. Ngayon, lalagyan natin ng ganito is x, the set of all x's, ganyan basahin yan, such that x is an integer between 0 and 5. Yun yung magandang description ng set na yan. You don't actually have to list them all. Kasi nga, meron ng description. Pero may mas maganda pang way na isulat yan. S is equal to the set containing X is an integer element, di ba? Si X daw ay element na itong letter na yan. Mamaya ituturo ko kung ano yan. Such that 0, X is between 0 and 5. This is what we call the interval notation. Sa calculus, siguro naturo na sa inyo yan. And that's how we describe the elements of the set. Ngayon, ano pa bang magandang example natin? Ngayon, buburayin natin ito. Pwede nyo naman i-pause and rewind para ano. Ngayon, let's delete this for a minute. Okay. Ngayon, nag-ano na tayo ng example. So alam niyo na kung paano gumamit ng roster notation, ng verbal method, and the rule method, diba? Ayan, konti na lang mabubura din. Ayan. Let's say we have an example 2. Ayan, example 2. Halimbawa 2. Ngayon, we have the verbal method. Ngayon, W is the set. The set of all letters that make up the word Mississippi. M-I-S-S-I S-S-I S-S-I P-P-I. Yan. W is a set of all letters that make up the word Mississippi. Yan yung verbal. Ano yung roster? Ano yung roster, guys? Anyone? Why am I asking? This is a recording. So, the roster notation says that W is equal to M, I, S. Magsusulat ba tayo ng isa pang I? Hindi na kasi may I na dito. Ano yung letter na wala pa? P. And we close. Pansinin nyo, we don't repeat letters in this form. Kaya medyo nakakalito siya kasi hindi natin alam na yung Mississippi pala na salita hindi ni-describe ng set na to. Okay? So maganda na may tatlo din tayong methods. The rule. What does the rule method say? So ito, W is equal to the set of all x's such that x is a letter. Is a letter in the word Mississippi. M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I. Ayan. So meron na tayong magandang mga examples. Okay? Now, meron naman tayo isa pang gusto sabihin. However, please take note that not all sets can be described by both methods. What are those methods? The roster and the rule method. Bakit? For instance, consider the following sets. Let's say we have a set A. Laki ng space dito, di ba? Tapos doon nagsisikip. So let's have a set A. Ano ba mga Apple, red, chalk, boys, and my name, Brian. First of all, is this a set? Sabi ko na kanina, di ba, set to? Kaya set to. Alam niyo kung bakit? Because you can easily identify the elements of the set. Ano ba yung, nandyan ba yung apple? Is apple in set A? Is apple in set A? Yes, of course. Is chalk in set A? Yes. Is the name Brian in set A? No. Is the word girls in set A? It's not. So lalagyan natin ng ganito. Pangit ang pagkakasulat, sorry. Girls. Is girls in set A? Of course not. Kasi clearly nawala siya dun. Alam natin. 'Di ba? Ngayon, isa pang tanong, sir, bakit capital B yung element na Brian? 'Di ba sabi mo kanina lowercase letters? Bakit may capital B? Take note, kapag proper noun, ang element mo sa loob ng set, it is okay to use capital letters because it is the word that describes that person or element pag proper noun ka. Basta nagpapangalan. Okay? Ngayon, ano ba mga example ng mga set na may proper noun? Let's say, let's have set A, which contains the members of the popular K-pop group Blackpink. Ano yung mga yun? Lisa, Jennie, Jisoo, and Rosé. Pansinin ninyo na yung elements niyan ay mga proper nouns, kaya yung mga letters na mga pangalan nila ay uppercase letters. Okay lang yun. Ayun. Sabi naman dito, pwede ba natin ilista itong set A na ito into roster and role method? Of course not, because what are the unifying properties of the word Apple, Red, Chalk, Boys, and Brian, di ba? Parang they don't have a connection, but they form sets. Isa pa, hindi lahat kayang ilista. What is an example? Sa set B, yung set B is the set containing set of all x's such that x is a star in the universe. Diba? We cannot name all of the stars in the universe and even see it, but we know that they are there. Nandun sila. So ito yung description ng set na yon. 'Di ba ginamitan na lang ng rule method kasi kung roster notation, it will take, I don't know, forever to write it. And even the verbal method, 'di ba? So mas maganda na lang na ganyan. So we will be stopping the lecture here. We will have a part 2 because this video is taking too long. In the next video, we will be discussing relations on the sets in the famous number systems. And until then, PUP Mathematics Club members, goodbye now.